There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello and welcome back to Could It Be?
An Oak Island podcast.
We are your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
Hey,
Hey!
how'd you enjoy last episode?
Oh, of course, all the enjoying. Like,
Well,
it's just full-blown enjoy.
We had so much of the swamp.
Swamp. Well, you know what? My notes are kind of minimal on the swamp.
Well, but we had a lot of swamp. We had a lot of swamp talk.
We had a lot of swamp talk. I will give you that. It's not like we spent half the episode at the swamp.
No, but there was some. I rather enjoyed the awesomeness of swamp coverage.
Yes, we did a little cheer when Dr. Ian Spooner popped on.
Mm-hmm. The swamp doctor.
The swamp doctor.
Heck yeah.
That feels like an important card that might need to get made.
Maybe.
I'll think about it in the future.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to see more of him.
Well, I would hope so. He's the swamp doctor, and they're going to be working in the swamp, so it only makes sense.
Yes, it does. Okay, geez, where do you want to start this week?
Well, they started at Shaft 2.
They started in the war room talking about Shaft 2. Well, right?
Come on, talking about Shaft 2.
So where they were physically at was the war room. Okay. So what Marty states, they believe they have found Shaft 2.
Mm-hmm.
Looks to Steve, it seems, for confirmation, and he agrees.
I think Steve always gets the he's like the go-to guy for like, hey, is this legit?
Yeah. Is it on the map as legit,
is this
or
the right point?
Well, what was cool is we got a quick look at the map and we saw the giant box on there that I would assume is the shaft, the big square.
I'm guessing so.
And then I believe it was Steve that stated now they just need to figure out like what way the tunnel orients off the shaft.
Yeah,
right?
Doug, I'm pretty sure said it goes west.
Yes.
So they need to figure out, is it northwest, southwest, west?
West City, west, Westerson. But even then, correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't happen often, but I don't think they had any documentation as far as what the size of the tunnel or coming off of Shaft 2 is.
I don't recall. They might have it though. I bet you they have a lot of stuff they never show us.
Well, I thought that they said they didn't have records. That's why I'm asking the podcast land, and maybe if that was something that you had picked up. But if they don't, then I mean, for all we know, it could just be really small. It could be just enough to like get your head and shoulders through. I don't know.
No, they were able to get 12 feet into this shaft or into this tunnel off of the Shaft 2. That's what the water, then the floodgates opened, as Gary would say.
The floodgates did more than open. They came like crushing.
Yeah, and they kind of put a big, let's cancel Shaft 2 at that point.
Right. I mean, you don't really have.
Back in 1805, probably a tough thing to recover from, It'd be a tough thing to recover from in 2020.
It was harder just to dig Shaft 2, let alone like. But I mean, treasure can make you do some crazy things.
It can, and it often does.
Yeah. Yep. It's funny. I don't know if it was in this war room, but Doug mentions it as the lore that has been handed down to us is that it's 12 feet away. Right? I thought that was a really kind of good way to put it.
Well, because you never know for sure.
You don't
until Steve gives you the pinpoint. Like that's the beginning of this tunnel. That's the end of this tunnel.
If it makes it on Steve's map, it's official. It's Steve map official.
It's no longer lore at that point.
It's fact.
Yes.
No lore.
No.
How about folklore?
That's something completely different.
Okay, good. Okay. All right. Carry on. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
Okay. Something major that we got out of this little war room session is Rick said they're going to put down another 8-foot can.
Yes.
So we got more
cans coming.
More giant boreholes in the money pit. That means we're going to get Vanessa from ROC.
Yep.
And Danny from ROC.
Danny the pirate. Vanessa the fearless leader.
Yeah. Well, man, I think that Danny the pirate sound clip from last season.
Oh, that was so
always
awesome.
So funny. There he goes, or whatever he says. He just sounds just like a pirate.
That was fan-terrific. Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, bring in the cans. Let's get hammer grabbing. But they have to. I mean, it's hammer time. They have to figure out the best place to put the can. They're getting a little tired, I think, of all these small Sonic holes. I mean, Sonic can only do small holes. It's go time. This is like a Mario-sized hole.
Mario?
Yeah, because he goes down in the tube.
Oh.
Because we're talking about Sonic does the small holes that are fast, and then Mario does the big green tube, and it's much bigger because he's a human.
So he gets to the warp zone.
Yeah, so you either have a human-sized hole, aka Mario, or you have a Sonic hole, which is a small
I like
hedgehog.
How everything's a video game analogy now.
Yes.
From the 80s and not from
Hedgehogs are smaller than humans. That is where I'm going with this.
True fact. Can't deny it. It's fact.
Okay, sorry, I digress.
Well, they did go back out to the money pit after that.
Correct.
And Steve and Doug were on site, and they had drilled down to 110 feet. And then Rick comes up, and he wants the trajectory of that tunnel, like you were saying. They want, is it going east, west, whatever? Doug's like, it's west. And so
westward ho.
That's when they're going to need to reposition that thing, drill down some more, get all those data points telling us, hey, this is the direction that the shaft is going, and I think when we get to the next time on the Curse of Oak Island from next week, we're going to get a lot more of like really honing in, pinpointing everything down there.
Yeah, where data seems to be the name of the game this year, right?
Yep. And so they wanted to pinpoint another point for them to go and start drilling down in.
Yep.
And
tag team champions
Steve and Doug
come in.
And then instead of laying the hammer down, what does Doug do?
Yeah. Okay. Steve tells him to, get a hammer and a nail, and Doug's like, I've got a hatchet. I'm a little concerned because, well, of course he doesn't use the sharp side of the hatchet to nail it in, but I'm like, man, that's the blade, like staring right there at you.
Meh.
You live dangerously.
Doug does.
Doug lives dangerously.
Okay, he does.
But hey, if you don't have a hammer, I guess a hatchet will do.
That sounds like it should be in a song of some sort. Maybe a children's song.
That should be like a famous quote.
If you don't have a hammer, a hatchet will do. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that. So they pinpoint it. Bam. Everybody's excited. Yay.
What else do they have going down in the money pit this episode besides that?
Well, we have stuff coming out.
Ooh, what's coming out?
Not down in, but coming out. Potentially a ceiling or a floor.
Of a tunnel?
Of a tunnel.
Yeah. Perhaps. I mean, it sounded like they were very positive about that. That was something that was a thing, right?
I've never built a tunnel that far underground, so I really don't know what the scaffolding or any of that looks like. Whoever, I can't remember who was operating the sonic drill, but he did say when it was coming down, they went through something hard, kind of then like a quick drop or a void. So this could potentially be the top of the tunnel collapsing in on itself, or we could be looking at the floor. Yeah. It's hard to say.
Yeah. So when they came back to the money pit after, they had another section where they went to Smith's Cove or whatever during the episode, Terry and Dave were working and
supervising.
Yeah, they were supervising. Well, Terry noted that what they were looking at was undisturbed, right?
As far as the soil, yes.
Yeah, virgin ground or whatever. And so, like we were saying a couple episodes ago, you're talking about the Dunfield excavation, and how, I mean, you figure all that's dug up already, but this just goes to show how much we don't know on our side of the camera, or like on our side of the TV sets. But it just made it seem like 100-foot hole, 100-foot wide hole would have probably demolished that area, but turns out it didn't, because this is undisturbed soil.
Yeah, which is really interesting. We've actually had a lot of questions just lately about that. We've touched on Shaft 2 and why we think it would still be undisturbed, because Dunfield would have gone from the money pit and then over the other direction. If you know this giant hole, Shaft 2, that's filled with water is over here, why would you dig over there and disturb that soil between the money pit and... So our assumption is that Dunfield didn't get to that area.
Yeah.
I mean,
sounds good. I like it. And guess what? It must be fact, because Terry wouldn't say this is undisturbed if it was disturbed, and they probably wouldn't be finding all these bits of shaft and tunnel intact.
Exactly.
So
I mean, if it's intact, then obviously Dunfield didn't get to it. That would be my best guess if I'm throwing it out there.
Yep. Then we had some choice sausage. From
always
99 to 105 feet pulled
sausage.
Up. Choice thinks that they punched through, like you said, the ceiling into a void, and they found the ceiling of the tunnel. Rick and Doug join.
They're excited.
Morale is high at this point.
Oh yeah, everybody's all smiling, and
Rick says this is a win.
Oh, it's a big win, Rick.
Yeah, and so they're gonna move on to. I wrote here micro borehole F15, because that was a F14 that they found. That
micro borehole F15.
Well, you just said it yourself. The sonic drill boreholes are really tiny.
Yeah,
right?
About the size of a hedgehog.
Yeah, so that's a micro borehole. I'm trying to coin a new term.
I just have this image of like
what?
Like the bank tubes. Where
pneumatic tubes,
and you put your stuff in. I just see like a hedgehog in there because
it's kind of like George Jetson.
It'd be him going really fast.
You ever see the Jetsons?
Yes, I've seen.
They would have those tubes that they get sucked up and down.
This is just a hedgehog size.
Yeah,
perfect.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Guys. So is that all we get out of the money pit this episode?
That's really it. Besides everybody being excited that we're gonna move over to F15, and maybe this is the year, yo.
Well, they're definitely not done in the money pit, because obviously we're getting to the point where we're actually gonna really hone in and discover where the true money pit was. Finally, after 200 years or whatever.
And that's assuming that the treasure is at the bottom of the money pit.
Yeah, I think they had clarified, or it wasn't 200 years that the money pit's been, the location's been lost to time or whatever. It was since then, like Shaft 9 or whatever, from 100 years ago. But man, I mean, they're all excited how potentially how when the money pit collapsed into the shaft that they had built or into the tunnel from Shaft 2. Theoretically, some treasure could have got put into Shaft 2, right?
Yeah,
that's what they're excited about, like a big maybe. And I'm not holding my breath.
Oh, well, are you? No, of course not.
It's always good to hope.
Yes. Yeah. I'm kind of curious as to how far away this location is from C1.
Yeah, we did some like trying to pausing the video when they're showing kind of some aerial views, and they took out the cans except for one, and it was a little bit further removed, and I think that one was probably C1 because that was the one that was like further away from all the rest of the cans.
Yeah, it was big and capped,
but I couldn't really tell where it was in relation to what they're doing now with the choice drilling.
Yeah, I agree. I concur with that statement. It's just something I'm curious about. I'm sure we'll find out as they get closer to narrowing it in. But something that came to my mind was we've seen a lot of different theorists, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But a number of them have to do with the location of the money pit, and then it being so far from where that tree was.
Yeah, triangulating from everything. Yeah.
So that it wasn't actually there. It was a decoy, and then it was here, or I think it was Gretchen Cornwall. Iman had a theory about, and it was based off of where the money pit was and then how far away. And I know there's a couple of different ones, but you can't really put those to the test until you know where the money pit is. And potentially, which seems to be my word today, we're getting close to being able to add that data point of where the money pit is, and
you can be sure
test those theories.
You can be sure if Steve makes that data point on his map, it is legit.
It's Steve Map Official.
Heck yeah.
Kind of like Facebook Official, but Steve Map Official.
Like Twitter checkmark?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been verified. The money pit's gonna get a blue check mark.
I hope so.
I hope the money pit gets its own Twitter account. That would be awesome.
Good idea.
Jack's shirt has one.
Jack's shirt does.
So why not the money pit? Oh man, that's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
Yeah, but I really do. I think that's it for the money pit for this week. But we have some excitement going on in other places.
Like Smith's Cove.
Smith's Cove. Cove of Mr. Smith.
What?
Yeah, it was just, a new jingle for you.
Okay. So I think we started out in Smith's Cove with Peter.
Yep.
And Gary.
Correct.
With Billy supervising.
Oh, yes. Well, Billy, of course, is in his heavy equipment, doing very careful precision-like work.
Surgical work.
Surgical Billy. Surgical. And he, hanging out in Billy's Cove, and it lets him know which piles that he's kind of got sorted out with the spoils for them to go through. Because we see Billy's sorting based off of whatever he's pulling out there, the type of rocks or whatever. So Billy's leading the charge.
Billy is the king of the cove. So
King of the Cove.
Makes sense to lead the charge. Yeah. So we have, Rick shows up and he says that there's a lot of curiosity about the end of the slipway area, where that would be at the end point, where they suspect the end point is.
Yes.
And,
you mean of the old slipway?
Yeah, the slipway. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and how it could have potentially had like a wharf built over the top of it at some point. I wish they would have elaborated on it a little bit more. But I don't know. Well, what do you think?
When I was trying to go through and we did some of, again, like the pause and gain a better look, we saw the slipway, and then you've got the concrete wall, and then maybe the slipway continuing past that, as if, the concrete wall was there and put in like right through the middle of the slipway.
Was it? I don't recall that. I thought the concrete wall was a little bit more toward the middle of the cofferdam they built last year, and out in front of the U-shaped structure, but I could be misremembering a lot. It happens.
Yeah, sometimes you misremember things. I could also be wrong, but I was trying to line that up with what seemed to be the newer discovery that I thought might be part of the slipway or the wharf, because if it was, then that would put the cement wall in the middle of it, I think. But we haven't uncovered the rest of said new discovery.
Yeah, it's fun watching them just do the work they're doing though in the bump out, and just seeing how they're going methodically, from one side to the other now that they have resisted the temptation to just jump into the middle and start digging out Mike's box.
I know, man.
And now they're like right up against the wall, making sure they use every little bit of square foot that they have there.
Right against the wall. And we even see, that was good. Gary, out there and tells Pete, okay, I'm too close to the wall. Gonna have to turn around or else, of course the metal detector is gonna go off.
Yeah.
But speaking of Gary and Peter, they do find a chunk of something, right? It looks like a giant rock.
And he's like, I bet you there's some metal in there. Well, like, duh, Gary. I mean, the metal check is going off.
But it's one of the questions we have to ask. Is it just something that's been super encrusted since it's been in the water for so long?
Yeah.
He says maybe there's a goodie inside, like a surprise egg. Like if you were to open it up, surprise!
Oh, man, I haven't thought about surprise eggs in a couple of years.
It's like an Easter egg.
Emma, our daughter, used to be so into the surprise eggs.
Oh, yeah.
Like videos on YouTube. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man, nonstop.
I'm glad that's behind us.
Yeah, now that I've said something.
Yeah, now she'll find him again.
Yeah, but we know Gary strikes again next week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speculating that there's a surprise inside of that meteor rock thing.
Rock thing.
I don't know. I figured it was like a meteor rock.
So you're talking about from the find today?
Yes.
That they didn't elaborate on.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And
so you think that's the thing that Gary strikes again?
Yeah, I think
not the
maybe,
piece of silver bar or whatever.
Well, what if the silver bar came out of the encrusted thing? Maybe they cleaned it up.
Maybe.
I don't know. But there's also another silver.
It makes it sound like he finds that on site, like pulls it out.
Because no one's been known to advertise and bait and switch us.
It's never happened before.
It's never happened. I'm guessing awesome surprise inside of the rock.
I hope so. I hope it's like a historic discovery unlike the world has ever seen.
What if it's just like a part of a cribbing spike or something?
That's probably what it is. Something they like throw it in this stack of cribbing spikes.
Throw it in
we got
to make a new wharf. We already got all the materials.
Yeah. Billy then identified some flat rocks.
Yep.
And he noted that the historical data says that flat rocks were on the finger drains.
Yes.
So
they find French drains.
Yeah. You like French drain better or finger drain or flood tunnel?
Ooh. I don't like finger drain. It sounds weird.
I think I like finger drain.
Really?
Just because you don't like it. I like to be the opposite.
Okay,
of you.
that makes sense.
I'm the yin to your yang.
Okay. I like the French drain. I think that's the term I like.
French drain. Yeah. Well, you like French stuff. You like French doors. You like French rolls from the bakery. You like French this, French that.
I do like
rolls. You want to go to
rolls.
Paris someday?
Yeah. So, do you not want to go with me?
I'll go with you. If there's a treasure to be found.
Oh, there is.
Okay. Is that the golden owl?
Yes.
Okay.
I shall find it. French drains.
French drains.
Billy finds them and he says, look through it. He had all kinds of knowledge to share right there.
He's the king of the cove. What the
heck
do you think?
But we don't get to hear all of his knowledge speak. I think
Billy just needs his own show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Billy the Builder.
Billy the Builder.
Yep, I like it. Done.
Billy the Excavator. It could be an animated show, and he does his voice. That'd be great.
Kind of like Bob the Builder, but
no,
Billy.
But like he's the excavator.
Like he's the actual piece of equipment
and it
that's
talks.
alive.
It's a cartoon. Okay, never mind.
No.
All I can see is dollar signs for Billy. Like that's his next project, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's really concerned about it. Okay. French drain. Billy hits a piece of wood. Timber.
And that's buried in a bunch of rocks.
Yeah, and it's big.
Mm-hmm. Oh, are you talking about the log?
Logs
the
are also timber. Are you talking about a different piece of wood than I am?
I thought you were talking about something you found that was like mixed with the French drain stuff.
Well,
you're talking about the giant log.
All the timbers.
Yeah.
But yes.
Didn't Gary kind of take credit for the giant log find?
I don't know.
Did it seem like it a little bit? He's like, "Hey, Rick, look at it. Looky here."
No,
I didn't think he gave that. Billy the credit. Hey, look what Billy found. Look, so we just missed the word Billy.
And they were standing there, and he told Billy, "Calm down," because he's getting close to the wood.
Down. Tell Billy to calm down.
Billy's getting quarter scoops at a time and being very careful, as he should. Archaeology work with a digger, excavator. I even have a note in here about Billy's wash plant because they have him scoop and he's just using water to help clear the way.
Yeah.
So very versatile.
He is a jack of all trades.
He's a Bill of all trades.
Master of all too.
Master of all. I thought it was. What was your thought about when they start uncovering this structure?
This like the giant log?
Yes, the giant log and all the logs by it.
My first thought was, whoa, That's pretty big.
And it's way out there.
Yeah. And, that only leaves you to think, wow, what are they going to find when next season they put out a cofferdam's another like 30 feet out,
Mm-hmm.
50 feet out, because, I mean, they can't possibly be done if they're finding all this stuff that's so close to the wall of the pump out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what else is out there?
Fish.
That's what I get to thinking about. Like, what if they're finding this, what are they still missing? Because there's just so much out there to be found. So much workings have gone on, either searcher or depositor in the past. I mean, I don't know. Like, say the depositors came back in 1200, 1600, 1700, whatever, whenever it was, and they brought basically an army with them. They brought 1,000, 2,000 guys, and their sole purpose was to dig this thing. Their sole purpose was to build these tunnel systems, yada, yada, yada. I mean, with 2,000 guys working hard for like a year, 2 years, 3 years straight, and that's all they did, could be done.
Well, like you're saying with the 1200s, I mean, we're in amongst a time period, if we just think back that far, the Crusades and all that going on and people fleeing all over the world. There's really important, whether they're political or religious. I mean, it all goes together. They would be highly motivated with their groups to create something
to protect their heritage, to protect their religion, protect it all. Yeah, I hear you.
It's a bit mind-boggling. Whatever it is that is end up being found or not found here, my thought is it's going to be historically significant one way or another.
Yeah,
literally rewriting history here.
So look what the Egyptians did with the pyramids way back in the day and what they were able to accomplish. I mean, that was like thousands of years ago. Okay. And the guys on Oak Island right now, there's max maybe 100 guys working at a time, with people that we don't see on the screen and people behind the scenes and whatever. I mean, max maybe 100 people. Say they had a couple of thousand people that they had brought, 800, 1,000 years ago, whatever it was, not 1,000 years ago, but whatever it was, they totally could have got some stuff done on Oak Island.
Oh yeah.
And they could have just dug some half tunnels and that led to nothing, be like, they're going to find this and think it's something. And, it's like a red herring. So I don't know. It's totally possible.
Something I was thinking about the other day was, what if someone on a boat, obviously, they show up, discover this island, and at one time it was used for mining some type of resource, and it was an abandoned small mine, but that's why you're seeing all these different odd cave outs or whatever. But they could have seen this place and there was already so much work that was done that they could then use whatever their techniques are to build and change it for their purposes. So what if half the work was already done before they got there?
Very well could have been. So like later on, we're going to talk about the swamp. And I mean, maybe we should just talk about it right now.
Sure.
Okay. So Dr. Ian Spooner shows up with some of his students. I wrote down in my notes, I said he showed up with his own little small army.
Yeah, he is.
Students
Girl power. Woo woo.
Yeah. Finally got some chicks on the island, huh?
Some chicks.
Well, it was mostly all dudes. So,
Yes. Girl power. I was stoked.
Some ladies showed up and did some work. And they got some cores from the swamp, which was cool. And they were able to... Okay. So he goes and presents his stuff at the end of the episode.
Yes.
And he's like, hey, this core that I have here says that there's a period of time where there was a lot of disruption in this area. And that was back in, I'm not looking at it right now. What years was it?
16. They said got a sample. So there was definitely some type of disturbance.
16 to 1700.
Yeah.
Like somewhere between 1600 and 1700. Yeah.
Landed around like 1680 if you had to put a year on it.
Yeah.
But that the swamp would have originated in 1220.
Yeah. So that's going back to what you were saying, how some part of the work could have been done, and then some other people said, "Oh, look at all this. We're just going to use this, and nobody's here. This looks really old already." Say the Knights Templar showed up in 1220, made the swamp or whatever. Let's however far fetched it may be, however real it may be, I don't know, but let's say they did it, and then other guys show up, maybe even from the same order. Maybe they're also Knights Templar. Maybe there's something else. I don't know. But they show up and they're like, wow, look at all this elaborate stuff. And we could just use this to our advantage. And then they just piece together the rest of their own puzzle to, and then bury their treasure or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't know.
I mean,
or maybe they were making a deposit into the bank there that they knew was there, that because you've mentioned that before, how they mentioned it before too, where it could have been something deposited long ago. Other people knew about it, and they would come and they would deposit their stuff there as well over the centuries, right?
Well, and if we take into account, so if the swamp originated in 1220 AD, let's say that's when the initial workings and deposits may have been made, and then they go into hiding, and now as the lore is passed down to whoever it is, let's say it's the Knights Templar, then that if you have the origination in that core at 1220 and then a disturbance in 1680, so the disturbance is your time of retrieval, potentially.
Could be.
I mean, he points out that there is no soil where it goes from like the glacial till, and then we see swamp.
Yep.
What normally you would see is that period of time in between where things are turning from glacial to dirt. It's just the same idea as composting. Why do you think the swamp smells? Just throwing it out there. And then swamp. But for it to blatantly go from
one period to the next.
Yeah, and just such
and mixed up in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like when you dig a hole, right?
Yep.
That's why GPR is so difficult, especially on Oak Island. Every time we blow something up, every time we put a shovel in the ground, you're marking the ground with a mixture.
And it'll never go back to normal.
It will never go back to what it was before, which is just kind of, I don't know. The whole thing's mind-blowing. I've never been a swamp person. No, obviously I'm not a swamp doctor, but when we have discussed theories in the past, I'm like, really, a ship in the swamp, or like the swamp being man-made?
Well, it's sounding a little better now, isn't it?
But I'm a Marty. Give me the data points. And so now I'm more excited about it. Just like Marty said.
Marty was more excited about it too.
He went from 20% being good with the swamp and his theories to...
He didn't give a percent, but
he didn't give a percent. He said significantly higher.
It seems much higher.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet he's at least 50%.
I was going to say he's probably like 70, 80%.
I feel like that too.
Like, I think he's feeling really good about it all of a sudden.
Yeah, or else he wouldn't get in the hole and then head to the eye of the swamp. There's just, it is so fascinating. I think we've got a lot of really good stuff this episode.
Yeah, did you like the PowerPoint presentation by the Swamp Doctor?
Oh, yes. I was like, wait a second.
I don't know. It's just funny.
A computer a lot of times.
I just don't see a lot of PowerPoint going on anymore. Do you? Maybe you do. I don't know.
Oh, that's more or less what happens anytime a theorist comes in and shows us something on TV.
I just figured they were like putting the screen up there, like the computer screen up there, not like doing slides.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a presentation depending on how you put it together. I like Google Slides. I mean, I'm not using like PowerPoint.
Okay.
What else?
Sounds good.
You have something wrong against PowerPoint?
I don't. I don't know. I was just trying to be
funny.
Not really.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say you fell a little short.
Mission accomplished. So when they were talking about how the things were, how that area was disturbed between the glacial till and the gravel, and how everything in the middle was, Rick looked gobsmacked.
Oh yeah, he didn't.
Like I was gonna write down flabbergasted, but then I said no. This has gobsmacked.
This has got gobsmacked written all over it.
Yeah.
Like if he was in a comic book and it's like pow pow gobsmacked, like that's the square he'd be in. Gobsmacked.
Sounds good. Yeah, glaciers don't go in and out, so that's how he knows something unnatural happened here.
Something unnatural definitely happened on Oak Island in general.
Yeah, so interesting stuff. Something else that they showed off during this, like after they were done with the PowerPoint, I think is I don't remember if it was Rick or Marty, but they told Steve to put up on the screen Xena's maps.
Yes, I really enjoyed getting a second look at that.
Yeah, I wrote down everything on those maps. Want to talk about them?
Sure.
Because there was 2 maps, and they had, or actually, so they had the one that I'm most interested in is the one that said, that we're always focusing on the hatch, right?
Well, yeah, because also we've been rewatching Lost, and the hatch is very prominent.
Yeah. So the hatch, right? And so that map is called the landing map, I guess. That's what it looked like it was.
Okay? The landing map?
The landing.
Oh, I remember him mentioning.
So the landing in 1347. And so they had 2 versions of this map pop up. One had, I think, a better translation or something, and then they showed the second one up close, and that one had the old translation that said the hatch and whatnot.
Okay.
And so I'm going to read what these said. Okay. So on the top of one of the maps, it said the bay. And on the other one, the one that the secondary one that they showed, it said the angel. Okay. And then the second, when you're going down, it has a picture of Oak Island there. Then one says the hole, and then the other map said the hole under. And then we had under the trap door on one, and then that was listed as the hatch on the other.
Hatch, trap door. So okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, Deidre's actually looking at one of these maps on the computer screen right now.
I didn't take very good notes on the map. Sorry.
Go down to the next one real quick.
Okay.
See, this is the one that says, it doesn't say the hatch on it, like what we had been accustomed to. All right, so then if you go down, it says the valve, and on the other map it says the valve. Then the other map says the second triangle, and then on the other map it says the December triangle. So I'm not sure what the differences are there. Then we have the pond on one, the basin on the other. The dam and the dam were both the same. Then we both maps labeled something as the anchors. And then we had the triangle of Peter on this map that you're looking at here.
Wow.
And the other map said the stone triangle. And that's the one that's over by the money pit that they have a replica of now, but it was destroyed. That
was shaped like a sextant, right?
Yeah, it was like some kind of, it was like a triangular thing, a rounded bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then they had one that said the vault under the earth, and that was the same on both. Then they had the swamp on one map and the marsh on the other map.
Okay. So, I mean, we've got a lot of similarities.
And then the last point said the oak, enter here. And that was the same on both maps as well. And that was pointing directly at the money pit. If this map is correct. But this map is supposedly from, the 1300s. That's before Christopher Columbus set sail to the New World or whatever. So, I mean, is this real? Is this not real? Don't know. But it has the picture of Oak Island on this map. Right beneath it, there's another picture of another island that looks a lot like Frog Island. So, underneath the Frog Island picture, it says, "Do not go here with boat," or with the boat.
Someone probably beached their boat one too many times. They're like, "It's shallow. Don't do
go
it."
Here. Yeah.
That's funny. Big boat, little boat. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they had the compass, and if you go counterclockwise at the top, it's not north; it's actually west, and it says big boat next to it.
Yep.
North is to the right, east is down, and it says little boat, and west is to the left. And then beneath that, it says the South Indians work very good. So what does that mean?
I don't know.
I'm thinking maybe that might be what they had called the slaves or whatever.
Oh.
That they had to dig all this for them, because it says
that's very possible.
The South Indians work very good. So they're like patting themselves on the back that they enslaved these people to dig all these tunnels and holes and stuff.
Well, Darcy O'Connor brought that up, right? With his theory in the Spanish.
Yep.
Which I mean, that would definitely line up with that, but we also have to ask, because we have two separate sets of interpretations here. One little thing can completely change the meaning and the time period, right? So old English, old French, old Spanish is gonna be much different than what we know it as today.
Yep. Will you post that on our Facebook page?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, we'll post these maps on our Facebook page.
Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll put it in the group as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, feel free.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just go to
it's a happy place.
It's called.
Be nice to everybody.
Could it be an Oak Island group or what?
Yeah.
Could it be an Oak Island group?
It could be.
Yeah,
it is.
So go check
it's an Oak Island group. Come hang out, fellow lighthearted, exciting people.
Heck yeah, good people.
We love the show.
Heck yeah.
Okay, where were we? We kind of tangent.
We did,
off of Smith's Cove.
But this was important stuff.
This is important stuff
about the swamp and Xena's maps and whatnot. I mean, Xena didn't appear to be someone that tried to deliberately mislead the team.
No.
But I mean, this is like it. This map, looking at it, is like too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a map from 1300s that says, "Hey, this is where the oak is. This is where you need to dig."
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like an X marks spot on the money pit. From like 500 years before or 400 years before the discovery of the money pit.
And in treasure hunting, something we talked about was, you don't just write a map and leave it around that says, X marks the spot. It could be that, different people hold different parts of said map so that you have to go there together, or you're creating these maps as decoys for those who may be potentially looking for the treasure. It's a misdirect. That being said, it is kind of coincidental that all these things are here and then there's a map. Was the map done as a
red herring?
Yeah, or just something to drum up interest in the island, or
yeah, but it was found, hundreds of years after they were really trying to do all that stuff. So,
well, we don't know. I mean, Xena found it in a book, but we don't know exactly how old the paper is or any of that. I'd be curious to know if they did any testing or
testing on it.
Took it to the expert at the bookstore, and that might give us a better idea of its origin. If anything, they could tell us about the ink or.
Yeah, but that might also be telling you something if like Xena or whoever has control of her estate now that may have possession of that map, or whoever does have possession of the map, if we're not hearing about them taking it to some expert to get it dated, that's a red flag too. Like, because that would be like an obvious thing that anyone would want to do with it to verify it.
Maybe, unless they think it's gonna get destroyed in the process and just
I don't know
the attention it could or couldn't bring. So did we wrap up in Smith's Cove? I don't think so.
Well, what else happened in Smith's Cove? I guess we'll go back to that.
Yeah, let me take a Rick talked about cleaning it up and clean up the structure, exposing as much as they can so they can try to get a really good sample to send off. And I'm assuming they're talking about the dendro testing. I mean, they're all very gung-ho on that. So it feels like anytime a new piece of wood comes up, they're ready to send that out. I assume that's what they're working on here. And then he also talked later in the episode about it being notched the same way that the U-shaped structure is.
The big giant log, right? Well, they said it could be akin to the giant or the U-shaped structure, and it could be even bigger than the U-shaped structure. I mean, U-shaped structure was pretty big.
Yeah.
So that's pretty exciting. Maybe it extend, like they found one end of it, right? The giant log. I thought they found one end of it.
They saw where one piece continued on and then where it stopped.
Yeah.
Over there.
You think they're going to find Roman numerals on it?
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up that it's a dock or something to tie up small boats with.
Yeah.
And we see on the map, so going back to Zena's map, you see big boats on the on the west end.
West, yeah.
And then on the east side, it would be small boats. Well, with how close those Roman numerals are, if small boats are being tied up there, then you would have multiple different numbers if it was, say, like a marina or somewhere to have a boat slip, right?
Sure.
And an easy way to identify what number your boat's at, I don't know, take a tag and here's your boat.
Or your Lincoln log theory.
Or the Lincoln log theory. There's that too. I mean,
like number 3 goes with number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just like IKEA furniture, right? I mean, I can't take that back because not like IKEA furniture is labeled that well. You just have to figure out where it goes based off the picture in a different language. Usually I got it. But they also talk about clay being packed in there, and then what looked to be untreated timber kind of disintegrating and rotting away underneath. So maybe it's a older structure built on top of a newer one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But we did see. Okay, so a little bit off of that.
Okay.
We did see the wash plant this episode. Did you see it?
We did. We got a quick little
yeah, and then it was gone.
It was. I was sad.
Yeah, they made a big deal about that wash plant last season.
Well, because poor Jack was out there turning gray every day, and like, think of how many more spoils they have now.
It was his duty, and he was happy to perform it.
Have you asked him? Maybe he actually doesn't like being the commander of the HMS wash plant.
Yes, he loves it. He does.
It might be ready to pass on those duties
to his first mate.
To his first mate. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but I'm sure efficiency helps.
Yeah. So while they're looking and they found that giant log, Gary also found some pegs.
Yes.
That were also reminiscent of things they found around the U-shaped structure. So
wooden pegs.
Yeah. In Smith's Cove.
He found 2 of them, so he has a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. I let's see, what did I wrote something funny about that, I think.
Because Rick shows up.
Oh yeah, he says, here's one and here's another. That's several.
That's right. I was like, wait, I thought 2 was a couple and 3 was a few.
And then 4, 5, 6, 7, that would be several.
So maybe he found some we didn't know about, or he didn't know that rule. 2's a couple.
He's American now, but he was from England, so maybe he didn't know that.
And he's in Canada now, so he's very well traveled.
Yeah. So Gary called it bloody massive. So that must mean it's like huge.
Oh, I was like,
log.
Blood? Why? Bloody massive. Yeah, it is. It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, Terry was impressed. This area that they're looking at now was about 10 feet beneath sea level. Like, whoa.
Yeah, and crazy. The further out they get, the more. So here's the big question: searcher or depositor?
I think probably searcher. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards searcher, but like who?
I think whatever this is due to they found this finger drain and they wanted to try to figure out more about it, and so they built stuff around it to try to give them space to work and give them space to figure out what's going on, and weather probably just didn't permit them to continue that indefinitely, so gets covered up over time.
I guess. I don't know.
What do you think?
I mean, I do think that it's got to be searcher, but it definitely feels like it's part of the other slipway, like as like part of some type of marina thing. I don't know. That's all I got. It'll be awesome to get the dendro back on that.
Yeah, something else they had noted below that giant log was blue clay.
Yes.
Yeah. So they gave us a flashback of the original money pit, and the dense blue clay being an original sealant at that time, between the layers.
Mm-hmm.
I think past 40 feet down or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This description of blue clay just seems to keep popping up all over the place.
Well, yeah.
More blue clay.
More blue clay. I don't know. Yeah. And then we had, so also Gary noted that above the giant log was a beam, and then a carry log, and then another beam.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't really do a good job of showing that to us on screen. They just
I had a
talked
hard
about
time
it,
with that.
and so wasn't really able to understand what he was talking about, because we only get brief glimpses of whatever sometimes. So, but I'll take his word for it. And if there's that much stuff there, this is a pretty significant thing. So hopefully we get, hopefully, they're going to expose it, dig it all up, detail it, do the dendrochronology on it.
Sorry, I'm thinking of my car getting detailed.
Well, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna
shine it up, get a little chrome on there.
They're gonna get Peter with a toothbrush to shine it up real nice. Yeah,
he's got to do his time.
He's doing his time. He's the young guy on this crew, right?
Oh man, yeah. But that's what I was saying about their speculation of a secondary structure underneath, and this was just being built on top of it. So could old structure be depositor and the other one be searcher? They didn't know. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Yep. So then we, I think that kind of wraps up Smith's Cove. Then we had done the majority of the talk about the swamp already. One thing we didn't note was that Tom Nolan was in the war room discussing all that with them, and giving his insights and his knowledge about what his dad had already done too.
Yeah.
And what did Gary say? Something about if your dad was watching us or looking down at us right now, he's like,
I told
you
so. And we're all like, yeah, he's definitely laughing at all y'all.
Yeah.
And definitely getting a good old kick out of it. I like it. So with the slideshow, as you said, Dr. Spooner calls it Site A. And Marty is very quick to state that they have been referring to it as the Eye, but Site A is okay.
Yeah. It's the Eye of the Swamp, man.
It totally just gives me that insight of what it's like being there on the island with them. You've got to have some fun along the way, and calling it something like the Eye, that's fun when you've got very long days. It'd be like, to the Eye, treasure hunting, all in, man.
You might as well. You might as well have fun with it.
Why not? I like that a lot. If you can't tell.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. Do we have much more to say about the swamp?
The only other thing is that they met with Corin Mall.
Yes.
And
so that's not that has to do with the swamp, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that's where I was going to go next with the theorist.
No, it has to do with the swamp, so I figured we wrap it in there.
Yeah, let's talk about him. So what else did he have to bring to the table this time?
So he was there with his fellow researcher, Chris Morford.
Yep.
Okay. And it sounded like as they went away, they had and were continuing to do some more research on this, and for the team, that they had another aha moment, like some more information.
Expanding on the theories.
Yeah, expanding and just some more information that had come to light as they were looking at it. So why not bring it to the team if he thinks it'll help them along the way?
Sure.
And that is when we get the Poussin, right?
Yep. He was an instrument to record the secrets of Oak Island. That's what Corin Mall had described him as.
And we see a self-portrait that was done
from 1650.
Yeah, just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Now, something about that self-portrait that didn't stand out to me until they said something was the woman in the background that with the eye on her headpiece or her crown or whatever we want to call it.
Yep.
And just now that when I see that picture, I can't unsee it. The third eye.
What if it's just a weird fold? in whatever she's wearing on
There's
her hat.
no way. It is clearly an eye, and an eye up there is very...
How do you know it's a third eye? She's facing to the side. You can only see one eye on the side of her face. And if you see the second eye on her head, that's two.
Okay,
we don't see the other ones.
There could be a fourth eye, and then we call her four eyes. But regardless, based off of where the eye is placed, would be all seeing, aka, the eye of knowledge. It's on the head.
The eye of providence.
Yeah, the eye of providence. It's
the all-seeing eye, the eye of providence, which is seen in the iconography of the Freemasons and the Knights Templar, and connected to the man-made structure Marty dubbed the Eye of the Swamp.
Yes, that one.
Sorry if I took your Clotworthy moment there.
The Eye of Providence, as Clotworthy so nicely explains to us, has been in iconography a long time.
Yep.
Right. This is not the first time that we have seen this type of symbology show up.
Thousands of years.
We're talking about the pyramids, right? And we don't know what past that, but it's really fascinating. And then they compare the face of the woman in the painting to the other painting.
Yeah, one of the Shepherds of Acadia.
Yeah.
And how they think the second version of that painting, the one that was done for Pope Pope Francis is now. Okay.
Yes. Obviously, I'm very well versed.
I don't recall which Pope it is. Sorry, Pope.
Sorry.
But yeah. So the second painting was supposedly where this woman also is in that painting. Okay.
Yeah, when it was reworked and done, I was like, okay, so that's fairly compelling. I could definitely see that. There were a little bit of variations, but I could see that it's definitely the same person, if you will.
Yeah, so everything revolving around a star being drawn over Nolan's Cross, and then these maps fit in. And one of the maps, if depending on how you line it up, I guess, and how it fits with the cross, one of the center of the star either is on the Eye of the Swamp, or it's on the Eye of the Swamp in both cases, but one of them is focused on that eye of that woman in that painting, and the other one is focused on where the man is pointing in the other painting, right?
Yeah, and I'm thinking about it now. So the woman in the painting, both of them, they're kind of a side view, like a profile. But so is the head in the middle of Nolan's Cross. So what would happen if you were lining both of those up with each other?
I think you need to go visit the war room.
I do. So new theory. But first, guys, let's scan the face that's in the middle of
Nolan's Cross.
Yes, because I'd really be interested as far as what they did with what we were thinking is the 90-foot stone, and what they've done with Stonehenge and all that. I'd be really interested into that being scanned. That's in the center of Nolan's Cross. There might be some, for all we know, that face has an eye in its forehead.
Wouldn't that be something?
That would be insane.
I think that would blow everybody's minds.
It's been said that face, like the eyes are...
What do they need to do to it? LiDAR?
They're looking at the swamp.
Yeah, so they were able to do some kind of scanning. I don't know if it was some kind of advanced LiDAR or whatever on Stonehenge, and find these like carvings that you can't see anymore. We can almost make out the features of a face on that stone as it is.
Yes.
Especially with the help of the History Channel drawing.
Of editing, increased saturation, contrast. Yeah.
And then drawing stuff on it.
Yes.
I mean, we could definitely see it then. But, if they use... I'm sure they've thought of it. I'm sure they've tried to do it.
They've got a lot going on. Maybe they haven't.
Yeah, maybe they take one thing at a time, or 20 things at a time.
That's there's a lot of things going on.
But I mean, it makes sense to try. Go ahead and do some of that advanced scanning on it to see if there's any other marks. What if there is an eye on the forehead? That'd blow everybody's mind.
And what about the cone-shaped boulders? Yeah. Maybe there's additional...
I know they found some random rocks around that have like crosses and carved in them. Right? What else what's carved in them before they were eroded by time?
Maybe Nolan's cross is actually a giant compass, and there was like N for north, or a fleur de lis, which would have been a north facing stone on the north stone. And I'm just spitballing here. All the theories. All the theories. We like to, at least when a theorist comes in, is give it a good college try. See if we can wrap our heads around it.
This one's a little tough for me to wrap my hand around, but like,
oh, me too. Definitely.
Yeah. Corin Mall had reached out to me on Facebook Messenger, and he told me that what we saw is about 5% of what they presented. So
we know that,
yeah, and we know that, and there's no way to understand everything about everything if you're only getting that much of it, and it's hard to wrap our brains around, and we try. But maybe we need to chat with him sometime.
Yeah, I would love to be able to ask him some questions and have a little chat around, like, why Poussin? Why, and just some of those other.
There's lots of questions, and I bet he's got some
what
answers.
Happens when you line up the face of the woman onto the face on Nolan's cross? I now actually am quite interested in this idea.
Because why not?
Because why not?
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, he and his partner Christopher, they had a nice little presentation. I wish we got more of that, even in that episode too. But
hey, that's television. So
yep.
They have so much footage, and there's a reason they keep adding episodes to the season each year, because there's a lot to share. But you also have to have some recap per episode, because if someone new joins the hunt, you got to catch them up a little bit,
at least a little bit. So I like this when after their presentation was done, Rick said, I've made mention to every theorist that has come and gone. A theory is a theory until you hold proof in your hands. But my hope is that this won't just be theoretical, that as can take this theory and pick a position on the land where you can find the one thing, hold something in your hand.
Okay. Thank you, Rick, first off, because this is something you and I have said.
All the time.
All the time. We have been criticized for saying this plenty of times, but
yeah,
a theory is just a theory until
something's found.
Until you're holding the treasure in your hands.
Yeah, we treasure hunt.
Yeah.
We have lots of theories. And we think
Plenty
we know exactly where all these treasures are. But guess what? They're theories.
They're theories.
We don't have the treasure in our hands. Right?
I've been working hard on Fandango, though.
Is that treasure in your hand?
Not yet.
Then you got a theory.
I know, I got a theory. I'm just saying, I don't know where everything is, but I'm coming for you.
You're coming for the fox?
Coming for no, I'm coming for the key that the fox
dropped. Yeah.
Not very responsible fox.
Yeah.
Okay. What else we got?
So I think that's Corin says that the fixed cross on the island is there to project so they can project the star onto the map of the island, so they can find the intersecting lines in an area to dig in. Says it is something that could have been done with 11th or 12th century technology. I
can appreciate that.
Could it have been?
I don't know.
That's hard for me to think about. Man, that's so long ago. And what did they have back then? That's medieval time.
Well, they can navigate by the seas. I don't know when the sextant was invented. And
yeah, but what are they doing with putting on I don't know. It's hard for me to fathom. It just is.
It is. It's hard to wrap your head around when we're so far removed from, the medieval period. But it gets Gary excited.
Well, something else that they had mentioned a couple episodes ago was the fact that on these voyages, they would have had really smart people, engineers and whatnot. I think this was on one of the theory episodes, and how the current would have brought people trying to sail back to England with spoils from South America or whatever, and Mexico, the current would bring them up toward Nova Scotia, and that's how one of the ships may have crashed there, and that they decided to hide the treasure there or whatever. But on those ships, it would have been some really intelligent people, like engineers, that would be able to work out a way to do all this stuff. So,
yeah, you can't really be a dummy to get all the way across the Atlantic.
Not back in the day.
Like,
you could probably do it easy now.
I couldn't. Nope. Someone else would have to do that for me.
Yeah, we're not getting in a dinghy and trying to go across the ocean.
Row your boat.
Yeah. So that was fun, right?
That was fun.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of it. And then we got the next time on the Curse of Oak Island. So what do we got next time?
Man, opens up with Billy and Marty digging side by side in the swamp.
I don't think they were digging side by side. I think it was more of like a Padawan master training session, like Billy was teaching Marty the ways.
I feel like if he's up in the equipment with Billy like that, if you're in that seat, you probably have to do something.
No, Marty was the one doing it. I think Billy was not doing it, just telling him, teaching him how.
Was he teaching him with the Force, just like
projecting his mind into his mind?
Was he wearing his green shirt?
I think so.
To make him Yoda?
Sure, I guess.
When he wears the green shirt,
Billy Yoda.
Yeah, Yoda.
Instead of Baby Yoda, we got a Billy Yoda.
Yes. I like it.
Oh man, someone needs to make some kind of Photoshop of Billy Yoda.
No, let's strike that from the record. Please do not.
Yeah, so they're draining the swamp next episode.
Yes,
that's the big takeaway.
That's the big takeaway.
That's what I took away from that
takeaway.
Preview. Yeah,
I'm stoked.
Yeah, they also did some work in the money pit, and Terry says that they've hit the side of a tunnel. Complete success on this hole.
Wow. Complete success.
Well, if Terry's saying it and he's a professional and he's not, I don't think he's saying things just to say them. I'll take that as a success.
Some people do say things just to say them.
What, like holy shamoly?
Holy shamoly. Or I say the things. That's why we have a podcast. We say things.
Sure. Just to say them.
About Oak Island.
Yeah. Okay. And then we have Gary detecting in the bump out area. Metal detecting. He finds a small silver bar. Is this the friend of the cross?
And it's silver, but is it silver in color or silver?
Well, and then we also had him say, "It's bloody silver, mate." This is what we've been looking for. And that was it. That was the end. So, I mean, that sounds like silver.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet it's silver. I bet you the guy that pushes the box off in that animation.
He dropped it. Oops. He was pushing it and it started tilting and he's like, "Oh, crud." And one little thing fell out.
Yeah.
That was the one
Hopefully
thing.
We don't find him down there.
Is that the one thing that Rick's been looking for? Nope.
Marty?
Well, they've both been looking for the one thing.
I'm sorry, but there are so many one things already. I'm in. Like, you ain't getting rid of me.
Yeah, for sure.
All in.
Yep, all in, and they will find the treasure soon. Well, relative terms, soon could be 5 years.
Yeah, don't find it too quickly. We have a podcast we enjoy, so
yeah,
don't worry.
It's fine. Do it at your own pace, guys.
It's gonna be.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy because we're gonna have
beginning.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot more. So
there's history books to read.
So let them find it then. Don't tell them not to find it. It's fine. It's totally fine. Go find it, guys.
Go find it, but just please keep continuing the show. That is all I ask.
It's all good. All right, so
I'm not asking much.
That's the end of the episode, right?
It is.
So good job, episode. It was fun.
Good job, episode.
What else we got?
An eye for an eye.
An eye for an eye.
Eye for an eye. Nicely done. Okay, what else do we have? Well, we have our Clotworthy moments.
Clotworthy!
Woo, woo! Clotworthy in the house.
And last week's Clotworthy was something that was kind of a landslide victory.
Yes.
And something tells me, well, I know the answer, but it wasn't what I think is in the bottom of the money pit. But that's okay, because this other one was good too. I'm talking about the Ark of the Covenant. Didn't win.
Oh, so you just spoiled it for them.
Spoiler alert.
You have to do that before you say the thing. Okay, here's the winner from last week.
See it.
An anomaly, some 10 feet beneath the swamp, measuring 20 feet wide, and found near one of the locations identified by Corey and Maul?
Yes.
It could be.
It could be.
An anomaly.
An anomaly.
We like anomalies. All right.
That was really good and fun. I'm glad that one won. Even though I like the Ark of the Covenant too.
Oh, yeah.
But that one was like a longer clout-worthy moment, more substance.
Mm-hmm.
It was
more substance.
It was in my wheelhouse.
It was meaty.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got 2 great ones.
All right.
Are you ready?
They better be great then.
Oh, they are fantiferific.
Okay, let's hear them.
The ceiling of a tunnel found at a depth of some 100 feet.
The ceiling of a tunnel.
It's
good.
a ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
He was really stoked. I feel like Clotworthy would be great in real estate. He'd get excited about tin ceilings, and it could be a selling point.
You'd have to tell me because I don't know anything about real estate. That's what Deidre does for a living. You want to buy a house? Call her.
Okay. Let's see here. Here's the next one.
Okay, let's hear it.
This is good.
Significant human activity in the area now known as the Eye of the Swamp, sometime between the 17th and 18th centuries.
Wow.
Significant human activity. I actually laughed out loud when that happened. And I was like, yes, there is actually a lot of significant human activity going on right now.
That's pretty good.
I mean, I had never expected human activity to be part of
what
the fabulousness that is a clot-worthy moment.
Yeah. Well, those are good, and
thank you.
I think people have fun voting on those.
Oh, yeah.
And how they can vote is you could go to our YouTube page. Or not YouTube. What am I talking about? YouTube page. Is that even a thing?
No,
because it's a YouTube channel, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay, go to facebook.com/OakIslandPodcast. You can find the posting there that allows you to vote for your favorite clot-worthy moment.
Yep. You can also find it on Twitter. At Oak Island Pod.
At Oak Island Pod.
At Oak Island Pod.
Perfect.
And then we'll tally the votes, and we will be able to talk about it again and have a good chuckle next week, as we always do.
We always do.
We'll always have a chuckle or 12.
Yeah, something like that.
And
we're never going to stop trying. You know what? This is just us, right? This is our humor.
Yeah.
This is just how we are in life. And that's just the way we're going to stay. Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry if you don't find us entertaining.
Well, what are they doing like an hour and a half into a podcast if they don't find us entertaining?
Oh, that's terribly unfortunate. That's valuable time.
That's called wasting your time.
Valuable time of your life.
Enjoying it.
Life's too short not to laugh.
Yeah, we had somebody tell us recently that there's a little too much humor, and it's nothing I can do.
I'm sorry, I can't stop.
Yeah, this is just how we live our lives. Like you should, when the camera's off and the microphones are turned off, you should hear us sometimes. It's pretty it's just like this is normal.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's normal.
It's normal for us.
It's normal. It's our normal.
It's our normal.
Our normal.
So, yeah, I mean, we had I don't know.
You didn't even pull. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, no, we just had a great episode.
Yes.
Great clot-worthy moments.
We did.
The only thing left to chat about is Patreon.
Oh, we're chatting? Okay.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yeah, well, we need to give props to people that have supported us on Patreon.
Yeah, of course we need to, because they rock.
Heck yeah, they rock. And then we also need to discuss about what we're doing on Patreon a little bit. Okay, so we will start with, let me see here. So we have Nathan Vaughn.
Yay!
And we have, lost it. Nathan Vaughn and Scott Parsons are patrons for us. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Nathan and Scott, you're awesome.
We really can't do this without you guys.
Yeah. So thanks for being a part of the
fellowship of the podcast.
Boom.
Goes the dynamite.
There you go. All right. So something fun that we're doing for our patrons is our, if you've been listening to us, and especially the past couple months, you know by now, we are doing a fun trading card series.
Mm-hmm.
And we've revealed all of the cards for this set that for January 2020. except for one.
I was gonna say no, we haven't.
We haven't revealed the final one, and
am I supposed to be?
No, don't worry about it. She was gonna. Let's just tell him.
Oh,
who's the final card?
Doug
Crow, the noble explorer.
The noble explorer.
Yeah, it's a good card. It's a lot of fun.
It looks really
so
good.
We have Marty, the Grandmaster.
Yep.
We have Doug Crow, the noble explorer. We have Dan Henske, the wise sage.
Mm-hmm.
Who else we got?
Steve, the royal cartographer. Yep. We have Peter
Fernetti, the friendly buccaneer.
Yes. And as you know now, Doug.
No, and Charles Barkhouse.
Oh, sorry. And Charles Barkhouse, keeper of secrets. Great timing.
Yeah, I know. We didn't even plan that. And all of a sudden, Nicholas Poussin, is it Poussin? He pops up in these episodes the past couple of weeks. It says keeper of secrets. I'm like, I don't know about that. I think Charles is the keeper of secrets.
I have undubbed him keeper of secrets because that title belongs to the amazing Charles Barkhouse.
Yeah, and if you read the back of his card, it specifically says he's been the keeper of secrets since the 1300s.
So he totally beat Poussin.
Yeah.
And that means the Fountain of Youth is on Oak Island.
Totally. So if you would like to get this set of trading cards, or and then if you begin supporting us on Patreon, you'll continue to get new trading cards every single month.
Yep.
So go to patreon.com/OakIslandPodcast.
Yep.
And you can support us there. And it's still, there's a couple spots left at the $5 per month subscription. There's an early bird.
Yep.
And then after that, it's going to be $8 per month. But you'll get these cards every month, and it'll just be something that shows up in your mailbox.
Yeah, it's like a subscription box for awesome Oak Island trading cards.
Heck yeah. And we are very, 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 very close to hitting our first goal on Patreon, where we're going to do watch along episodes. And we're going to start episode 1, season 1 of the Curse of Oak Island, and talk about how or do like a commentary of the episode while we all watch it together. So we'll watch it and you'll press play on it at the same time, and we'll have a good time with it. It'll be great. It'll
be like we're there with you.
Yeah. How cool is that? Yeah.
I mean, it might be cool. It might.
No, it's going to be awesome.
They may not.
It might not just be cool. It might be awesome.
It may be totally rad.
Heck yeah, it will be. So we have that to look forward to, and that's coming really soon. Like, we're like this close, you guys.
Itty bitty.
Yeah, so go and support us on Patreon if you want that to happen, and then you could also get yourself some rad cards.
Tubular.
Yeah. Is there anything else this week?
Geez, I don't think so. You know what else is this week? Looking forward to next week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to
What's the name of next week's episode?
Oh, Gary Strikes Again.
So
dun dun dun.
I'm excited.
Dun 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 isn't actually part of the title name, but I added it.
Hey, so, and if you don't know, because everybody listens to this via the podcast, we are doing a live stream now of the podcast. Like right now, we're broadcasting live. You'll get it later. That's cool. But we have a chat room. You can chat with other people that are into the podcast or the Curse of Oak Island, and it'll be a good time. Like we have Agnes here. She says she watches us for the humor. Well, thank you, Agnes. There you go. So
yeah, we have a lot of great people here chatting, and unfortunately, we aren't really able to chat back when we're actually doing the podcast, but we do go back through and we look at your comments, and we always appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and then
make this awesome.
But on Tuesdays we do a chat. A pregame chat, an hour before the episode of the Curse of Oak Island or Drilling Down starts, and that we are fully chatting with the chat, right?
And that is a really good point. Thank you for bringing it up. Next
You're welcome.
week,
I know, I'm good.
So that's the 21st.
Yep.
Okay. We also have a Drilling Down.
Yes, there's a Maddie Blake special.
Yes, and that means that we will be doing our pregame
at 4:00
pre Maddie Blake.
Yeah, 4:00 our time, Pacific. So that's 7 p.m. Eastern. And but we'll make sure to post that on Facebook or Twitter. The important areas where people get their info about us. So, all right, is there anything else now? Is that it?
I don't think so. I think
we're
that
good.
Is it.
I think that was an episode.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
I can't say thank you enough, and how much we really appreciate you listeners.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate you.
And we appreciate the chat. We appreciate the chat going on in the chat right now. So you guys are all awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
All right.
You guys are awesome.
So until next time.
Could it be?
We need to find some gold in the car to go old.
Exactly. Oh, absolutely.